now behind you, at least the 10.
It's largely in the Senate.
Largely in the Senate now. Now you turn to the really tough stuff of trying to balance the budget. Now you're starting to look for hundreds of billions of dollars in cuts.
No, you're not. The federal government will be larger every year.
By 3%, by your rendering.
But if it's larger, why? I mean, only in Washington would an increase be a cut.
No. But let me ask you this. You've got to maintain spending growth to 3% in order to reach this balanced budget. Explain then, Senator Domenici, the Senate Republican budget chairman, says that Medicaid, Medicare will be growing in the 5 to 6, 7% range. Your home school lunch program will be growing into the 4.5% range. How are you going to hit that 3% target then, realistically?
Well, first of all, Congressman Steve Gunderson has a proposal to merge the Department of Labor and the Department of Education. It saves $4 billion a year in less bureaucracy. That's an example. There's a proposal to eliminate the Department of Energy. It saves about $20 billion over 5 years.
You're going to try to eliminate the
We're going to look at every single program in the federal government. We're going to say, you know, it's a real simple equation. It's one that every private business, every private family goes through. What are your priorities? What can you afford to do? How do you get to a balanced budget? We're prepared to face the country and tell them the truth because we think balancing the budget and saving their retirement years and saving their children from interest on the debt is a big deal.
Well, Mr. Speaker, you said in your speech that everything is on the table, corporate welfare, for instance. Let's make some news here. What corporate welfare would you like to see done away with?
Well, we're going to look at every single part
of subsidies.
Well, we're going to look at every single part of the Department of Commerce's program. We're going to look at every single part of the current tax code. When I say it's on the table, I mean it's on the table. We're going to have farm subsidies are on the table. The Department of Defense is on the table.
The Department of Defense is on the table?
Sure.
You're going to cut Pentagon some more?
Certainly, it's not a question of cutting. First of all,
restricting the growth?
But think about this. Robert McNamara built an enormous bureaucracy. Every conservative for 30 years has said there's too much bureaucracy in the Pentagon. Now, this is the year to say, fine, we mean it.
So
let's have less bureaucracy.
Call it what you will. You'll find more savings from the Pentagon budget.
Yes, sir. Absolutely.
How much?
I can't give you numbers.
About?
But John Kasich, I think, is going to find a good bit of savings.
Tens of billions?
I think that we're going to clearly be able to save billions of dollars in the Pentagon.
But how is saying that you're going to attack corporate welfare, to use your expression, when in your tax bill you get rid of the alternative minimum tax?
I'll give you an example. We eliminated all the advanced technology projects that were just giveaways to big corporations. They were eliminated in the rescission bill. We're prepared to go nose to nose and say, you know, we're willing to try to lower taxes, we're willing to lower litigation, we're willing to lower regulation. That means corporations may have a greater obligation to go out and compete in the marketplace without getting a special goodie from the government.
When you return, how are you going to handle some of the very delicate so-called social issues in this country? Abortion, for example. There is an amendment pending from a Republican member to end the state's funding for abortion, Medicaid funding for abortion in the case of rape and incest.
Representative Isto. Frank.
Isn't that what he's doing?
No, it's not what he's doing. What it does is it blocks a Clinton administration requirement that every state pay for it, even if locally they don't want to.
So what will the House be doing on the abortion?
My guess is we're going to return that to states' rights and say states get to choose.
What will you be doing on the prayer issue?
I don't know that we'll ever deal directly with the prayer issue. Most of the conservatives I talk to would like to see a religious liberties bill that, for example, guarantees that children can pray over lunch. We're all opposed to any teacher having any official prayer at any school in America that's a public school.
And while we're running through these issues, what about the assault weapons ban?
I think you're going to see a very intense focus on our part on locking up violent criminals and on getting to an instant identity check so that if a felon or a person who has a mental illness shows up, we find out immediately who they are and we take them off the street.
But overturning the assault weapon ban?
I think that we have very little interest in harassing honest, law-abiding citizens at a time when this administration refuses to implement the 10-year additional penalty for using a firearm in the commission of a felony. We'd like convicted criminals to not have guns, and we'd like to focus on convicted criminals who we believe are the real danger.
Before we go out here, what is your message, what is your word to your colleagues, your Republican colleagues over in the Senate that are now holding the contract with America? What do you want them to do with it?
We've been cooperating terrifically for the first 100 days. We have a lot of good things going. Senator Dole's been terrific. Senator Lott and Senator Graham have been terrific. Let's keep working together. We're going to have, I think, a terrific year, and we're going to do it together as a Republican team, and whenever possible, we're going to work with Democrats and we're going to work with the President to get things signed.
Speaker of the House, Newt Gingrich, thanks very much for being with us. On behalf of my colleague, Bob Franken, we appreciate your time.